Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Connection Week 147. Welcome back to anyone who has missed Coffee and Connection and hasn't, if you haven't been with us on With All Your Heart, I'm happy to reconnect with you. And of course, just happy to be back here in this space. And anyone who's new to Coffee and Connection, who's just joined our community during With All Your Heart, this is our weekly opportunity to connect. It's where I answer different questions and share with you different ideas. It's really an opportunity for us, like I said, connect, right? Whether we have coffee or tea. Today I have tea. I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather. My throat got all scratchy today, so Bezrat Hashem, I hope to feel better tomorrow. Because yeah, here isn't it crazy how it feels like Thursday? It feels so like Thursday to me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of process, the concept of a journey. It's both very timely. Here we are, just finishing with all your heart, talking about continuing a journey. Some women have signed up to continue the journey. Those of you who are here now on Coffee and Connection are continuing a journey. And and here we just finished here in Yerushalayim. We just counted the last day of the Omer. Very exciting, thank God. And it really is a great opportunity to talk about journey, right? Because that's what Shavuos is. Shavuos is, I'm a little choppy. Thank you for letting me know. Let me see what I can do on my computer to make it less choppy. Hold on, things. I feel like I'm also tilted. I'm not sure why. Um, Let me just see what I can close so that the computer is a little bit clearer. I feel like there's something stuck under me. One second. Okay, where did you all go? Is that better? I hope that's a little bit better, if not a lot better. Okay, so what about a process, a lot of times when we think about where do we want to go, what do we want to accomplish, what do we want in our lives, our dreams, the way we want things to be, it is very helpful. It's one of the first exercises that I give in the Absolutely Feminine program. It's one of the first things we did in With All Your Heart is very much looking to see what is it that I want to create? Where is it that I want to get to? Because that's going to help us figure out how to get there, right? Like when we talk about, ways is a great mashal these days. Like I once had an experience where my Waze wasn't working. I was like traveling all over the world that summer. I was in, it was a whole crazy story. I was like all over the place. And for whatever reason, my phone, every time I turned on Waze, it thought that I was still at the Canadian embassy in Tel Aviv, where I had to go like 6 times because my passport got lost in the mail, and I needed to travel. But it didn't matter where I was in the world, whether I was in Las Vegas, I was in Toronto, I was in New Jersey, I was in Germany, wherever I went, I couldn't use my Waze because it didn't know where I was. It kept thinking I was in Tel Aviv. And because I didn't know where I was, I also couldn't figure out where I wanted to go. In order to be on any journey in life, in order to create anything, we have to be aware of where we are. Where do I stand right now? Where am I sitting? Like literally and also realistically, and also in my situation. Where are things at in my life? And then where do I want to if I don't know where I want to get to, it doesn't matter, how far I drive or how well I know the traffic or how hard I work to get there. If I don't know where I'm going, it's going to be pretty hard to get there, right? So it's important to know where we want to go and what we're looking to accomplish. At the same time, when we have a destination in mind, when we have a picture, it is that we want. We have a desire, we have a dream, and we get very focused on creating that dream, that desire. That's where, and like having it done like in a certain time frame or in a certain like, with certain expectations of how and by when and in what way, that's where a lot of frustration happens because there's so much that number one, we don't control along the way. There's always going to be things that we don't control. There's going to be things that we need from other people. There's going to be um, things like we might not feel well one day. We may suddenly need to take care of something else that needs to be taken care of. We may run up against other challenges that we weren't anticipating, right? just to continue the Waze analogy, traffic, construction, you have to go to the bathroom, somebody, the person in front of you is driving really slow. Like, it doesn't matter how much you want to get there. It's still not completely in your control how fast you're going to get there. And then there's the reality that it's a process and we don't necessarily know how long the process is going to take until we start out, right? Also, there's the reality that sometimes things, um, when we get there, we realize that we really want to go somewhere else, or we really want to go further. We want to get to like the next stage, the next step. And I heard recently a really beautiful way of looking at it is that, when we're on a journey in life, when we think of life as a journey, we can think of it as, you know, to get to one place. And anytime we stop, it's just like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Why aren't we there yet? Why are we here? Why are we stopping here? Or we can think of it as we're on a journey and every stop in the journey is an opportunity to see, wow, what's here? What can I accomplish here? What can I see here? Look how far we've gotten, right? The stops in the journey become actually part of the journey, right? It's part of the destination is the steps along the way. That's a really powerful way to think about life and journeying. And sometimes we can get so focused on I need to get here by a certain time that, like I said, not only are we getting frustrated, but it makes it actually hard to for the process to continue. And this is something that I see very often with clients where, we're look, like getting to a place of feeling more connection and love and safety and respect, it is a process. And it's a process. You've all gotten to kind of get a really good taste of the absolutely feminine process. It's a process that builds on itself, right? So let's say, for example, you are working on building connection and you're at the stage where you're really like trusting yourself and you're like recognizing that you don't have it all perfect, and then you start being really focused on seeing how your husband doesn't have to be perfect and seeing how you can love and appreciate him the way that he is, and you're like, wow, this is like, and then you're just like, but wait a second, I'm not yet feeling the and connection that I'm waiting feel more connection and start to build a feeling of safety, but it's not the way I want it to be. And then all our old fears can come in and take us back 10 steps backwards. Does that make sense? Because we're just so focused on, yes, but this isn't what I want, that we get pulled back along the journey. And this is something that is so easy to happen, right? Because along the journey, old voices are going to come up, old struggles, old issues. And we can easily think, oh my gosh, if this is coming up for me again, it must mean that I messed up or I didn't really gain anything. And it's important to understand that like the issues that we deal with in life, our deepest issues, they're going to keep coming up. Our fears, our challenges, but I don't want to discourage you because here's the thing. The more we work on them and the more awareness we have on them and the more we stay on the journey, the more we can catch when it's happening, the more tools we have to deal with it, and the faster we can get over it. Right? I always tell women, it's not like we're going for a situation. There's no such thing in life as like, let's say now you feel like your life is like down, or you feel like there's a lot of ups and downs, but you're mostly in the down and the downs are very big, right? Like kind of like this. I always tell women, it's not like we're ever going to get to a place that's just not a realistic. There's challenges and there's triggers and we upset each other and people say things that they don't mean and people say things that they don't expect that it's going to upset you, and we get tired and we get hungry and we get sick and we get challenged, and like things happen, life is happening. But when you have the tool and when you have the awareness, skills, and the guidance and the accountability that is offered, right? Especially in the Absolute Feminine program, you realize that the life is much more about up here. And when you have a dip, you're able to recognize what's happening. You're know what tools to use so that you out of it much faster and it happens less often, right? That's the power of having skills. That's what it means to not feel stuck. It doesn't mean that challenges don't come up. It means that when challenges do come up, you know how to deal with them and you can deal with them much faster and much more efficiently and effectively so that you can go right back to connecting, right? Um, because these things are always going to happen, right? I was just trying to put my kids to bed and my boys didn't want to go to sleep. They're all excited. It's the last day of Spears of Omer. They're all like, getting pumped for Shavuos, whatever is going on. I'm not feeling so great. I know I have to be here at 9 o'clock. I also wanted to be able to put them to sleep, and it got stressful. And at one point, I was just like, "Go into bed, right? Like, get into bed." Not with a smile, but and that did happen. And in the olden days, when that would have happened, I would have stayed upset and I would have gotten pulled into like a negative place. I would have felt offensive. I would have been all like bothered. And this and tonight, and I don't always like it's not always this. When it happened tonight, like right away, I was like, oh no, I don't want to yell. I'm sorry that I yelled. I'm sorry that I got upset. I'm not feeling well. That's not an excuse. And I'm sorry. And I calmed down like right away. And that's just the power of it, right? And the same thing can happen with my husband, like the experience of being able to it's not that we don't get triggered. It's not that we don't get upset. It's not that things don't hurt us. It's the power of having the skills to be able to catch it and repair it at a rate that may not even seem possible to you right now, right? And at a in a way that you're able to get right back to a place of connection and awareness of like, okay, wait, how did that happen? What was I upset about? What was what was I afraid of? What do I need to communicate to them? What do I need? Like I can ask myself those questions so I don't stay stuck there and I get to go back to being the mother I want to be, the woman that I want to be, right? So that is so important when we're in a process. I mean, look at the Am Yisrael in the desert, right? Here they're brought out of Mitzrayim. They're counting towards Har Sinai, and all these issues are happening along the way, but they were kind of expected, right? God knew that they were going to come out like this slave mentality. They have to break away from Egypt. They have to break away from the Mitzrayim, and it's a process. Parshat B'Shalach, like the whole 49 days leading up to Har Sinai, is a process of getting them to a place of being ready to receive the Torah, right? Now, after that, they spend a year in Har Sinai. They're on this crazy high, and then it's time to go. And I saw a beautiful Rav Hirsch on the first pasuk of Parshas Bamidbar this week that really resonated with me, where he said, you know, at like the Jews get to Har Sinai and they spend a year there. That's what Vayikra is about. This like high, almost like we could call it like a seminary year, or just in this high. And now it's time to go. And now we're hit with Bamidbar. And how does Bamidbar start? Okay, like real life. Like let's look at what's actually happening on the ground. Let's count the people. Let's be real about life. Like what's actually going on. We have this ideal that yes, we're striving for and it teaches us what the ideal is and what we're working towards and what it means to have a relationship with Hashem. And now we're talking about Bamidbar. We're talking about taking that relationship with Hashem into our lives. And we have to start with being very realistic. Where are we? Right? How many people do we have? What's going on? And we know that in Sefer Bamidbar, a lot of the same things that happen in Bishalach and again, right? Again, there's no water and the people complain. Again, there's wars and they're attacked by people. Again, there's issues with food and water. All these things happen again. And sometimes it's not very good and they have to fix it. And and sometimes it's better than it was the first time. And this continues into Sefer Yoshua, where again they have to cross the water and there send spies again. And but what do we see? It's not like they got to Har Sinai and now the process is over. It's a continual process. It's a process that we're still in today. Continual process of figuring out how to live with a relationship with Hashem. And we're not going to get it perfect, but it doesn't mean that we're wrong or hopeless. that we get to stay in the process. We get to keep moving forward. And that is so important when we're talking about even Shavuos. Like I remember hearing many years ago a class from Rav Yitzhak Berkowitz who talked about how, like, what are we celebrating on Shavuos? Like, we celebrate that we got the lucho, but like 40 days later, by the way, there's another understanding idea. Like, we're finishing a process and then we're going to start the next, start the 40-day process to Shiva Asar Tammuz. And then we're going to start the 40-day process to the first day of Elul. And then we're going to start the 40-day process to Yom Kippur, and then we're going to start the process to Hanukkah, and then we're going to start like it's we're always in a process. You ever notice that we're always in a process of of growth and working on ourselves and moving forward? But he says, what are we celebrating on Shavuos? Those luchot are going to be broken, right? The giving of the Torah. In 40 days, like those luchot are going to be destroyed, and they're going to have to repair the relationship. And he said, but even though that happens, what we're celebrating is a potential. We're celebrating a reality of a relationship that we can come back to. And that's the power of understanding that life is not about perfection and it's not about why aren't we there yet and getting overwhelmed with everything we need to work on. It's about understanding our challenges, understanding where do I want to go? What's getting in my way? What's the gap between where I am and where I want to be? How can I close that gap? What can I do to create connection? How can I get there? And being aware of every step along the way, not beating ourselves up for being in a journey because that's the way it's supposed to be. We're meant to be in a journey. That's what life is about. And what is the ideal is to make sure that we're striving in that process, that we're not giving up, we're not beating ourselves up for not getting it perfect, and we're also not becoming complacent, helpless, to always know that we can ask, okay, what do I need now? What can I do now? What's my next step? What will help me get there? And that's the power of knowing that we're in a process, knowing that we're moving somewhere, right? Is this resonating with all of you? Let me know. And I'm just happy to be here to be able to keep sharing. As you know, I did leave all the apps, the with all your heart trainings. I sent an email saying I was leaving them up to celebrate the hostage return and the powerful. I just can't stop watching. On the one hand, I watch those videos and I'm like, we have no business watching this. Like, this is between them and their parents. On the other hand, it's like we all feel so connected and we all feel like so happy. So just like the simcha, I know all over the world, it's like Jews all over the world are just celebrating this and seeing them back with their families and the power of a family to build, the power of a family to heal, to feel safe and loving and loved, and to know that it's from there that we can really move forward in our journey. And sometimes we don't feel that. Sometimes our home, maybe sometimes our home, let's be honest, doesn't feel isn't the loving place that we want it to be. And what I want you all to have clearly for yourselves is an understanding of what can help you get there. What can help you create more love with your husband, more safety to feel that you can heal in his arms? What can help you create a feeling of safety for your children? That your home is that warm and safe. And if you need more of a understanding of what will help you get there, which steps make a difference for you, right? How do we get up from the down to be able to move on is the question that I'm just seeing in the chat, is a wonderful question. And that's like really the process that I shared with you and that you can still hear in the trainings and the master is really like I shared my own what I use downs to the ups. It's what my clients have been using for years. It's what gives us the ability to recognize, yes, I'm in a down, and be able to start to create that shift where it doesn't have to take days or weeks or sometimes years to get out of a down, to get back to the place that we want to be. Maybe you've never felt like you're there. Maybe, like struggling with children, struggling in your marriage to feel safe, to create that warm home that we set out together, that was what we set an intention for. if you're still struggling with that, to get curious, will this process make a difference for you? Does it make a difference for you? And if you see that it does, if it's resonating, if it's something that you feel you've tried some of the tools, you see that it makes a difference, if you're feeling connected to it, you're welcome to still reach out. I'm not going to close the card. I'm not going to change anything in the pricing or the bonuses until Sunday, until we really officially close with all your heart when we do take the trainings down. And I just am here to help you see for yourselves if this is a process that will make a difference for you. Because what I've seen over and over is that feeling of being stuck, the feeling of overwhelm, of stress or fear or helplessness. It's so often something that we can get out of. And I've seen women get out of it when when you know how, right? When I tell you that, like, you're not stuck and you're not, it's normal and there's answers. Saying is not, okay, so stay stuck there because it's okay. No, it's when we have an awareness like there is a way out. There is a way to shift the experience that you're having. There is a way to change the dynamic that's going on in your home, that there are answers. We don't have to feel stuck anymore. We don't that we do feel stuck. Wait, your brain already automatically can start thinking. And until it starts thinking automatically, I'm here to like help get those thoughts happening. Like, how do I get out of this? Right? And you can start to ask yourself the questions, use the exercises, work through the skills to realize, wait, what is a difference here? What's going on for me? When I get to what tool is going to help me get there? And there's so many different ways of thinking and so many different tools that can really make a difference. And if I could, I gave over as much of it as I can. And I also know that when we see it as a process and a journey, which I know is scary, I know it's scary to think of being on a journey for a year, being on a journey that's going to take time. But here's the reality, ladies, we're always on the journey, whether we recognize it or not. And we're going to be on that journey. The question is, where is it taking us? Do we feel we have direction? Do we feel we have support along the way? Do we feel we have a way to know when we're veering off course, right? Oh, like to hear that, like rerouting. Do we have someone that can help us recognize? I was on the phone today with a client who is, this is what happened with my husband. I want to know how to handle the situation better. What could I have done differently? And we looked at the situation, and I helped her understand her husband. I helped her understand different things she may be doing that I know from the goodness of her heart is actually creating more issues with her relationship. And we talked about it. It's created like, here, this is how you can get closer to your destination. Here's how to deal with these situations in a way where you don't have to feel as frustrated or as much pain as you feel right now when it happens. Right? So and look, what because we know whether we counted the last 49 days, they happened. And thank us, whether we did the work or not, whether we counted or not, the process happens. And now, rather than, you know, making potatoes and getting our matzah ready, it's time for cheesecake. Like, we're at a different place, and the question is, did we get here in a way where we felt we were moving forward, or did we just kind of drift along? And that's the power of taking an active, empowered stance on the journey, right? So if anyone has any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. You can see, like, again, if you go to the With All Your Heart website now, you can see it in any of your emails. You'll be able to get a clear understanding of the journey. You still have today and tomorrow and whenever Shavuos comes out for you, and Friday and Sunday to listen to those trainings, and I hope that it will help you have some clarity as to what will make a difference for you along, please God, many years of your journey in this life with your family, Be'ezrat Hashem, for many, many years. And whatever we can do to make those years where we feel like we're getting where we want to go and creating what we want to create. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to drink my tea, try to get some energy, and maybe get some stuff ready or else go get some sleep so I could do it all tomorrow. But thank you for joining me on this Erev Chag. I look forward to seeing you week. I wish you all a Chag Sameach, and I always invite all women, no matter what your situation, even if you have to stay home with little kids and Shavuos is so hard. And I hear women always talk about how Shavuos is very difficult for them. I invite you to find something that allows you to feel like you're making Torah yours, that you're receiving the Torah in your heart and in your soul, and you're really feeling it. Even if you say, a few prakim of Tehillim, if that connects with you, or you read any parak of anything in Tanakh or any book that you connect with, even if it's 2 minutes till you fall asleep, just to find something, some way throughout the Chag to feel like it's not just this, Chag for other people, that you really are connecting to and feeling that you are receiving the gift of the Torah. So, as always, also let's finish with some Tehillim together as we dive in for both like the easy return of these amazing return of these hostages, that they should be healthy and really have an easy acclimation back into life. All the hostages should be returned. All the soldiers should be safe. All of Am Yisrael should be safe in their homes and building those homes and the safety of everything that's going on. Let's say Shir Lamalot together, Kuf Kaf Aleph, Shir Lamalot Esa Einai El Ha'arim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, Al Yiten Lemot Raglecha, Al Yanum Shomrecha, Hine Lo Yanum Velo Yishan Shomer Yisrael, Adonai Shomrecha, Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminecha, Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yakeka, V'Yirech Balayla, Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra, Yishmor Nafshecha, Adonai Yishmor Tzedcha, Uvuecha, Me'ata, V'Yad Olam. You all have a full, amazing Chag. Feel the Torah, feel the blessings, being able to open and receive from Hashem everything that we have in our lives. May we receive so much and always feel that we're receiving connection with Hashem and with everyone in our world, in our home, in our lives. And until next time, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.